of the smaller banks up about 1% or so as we take in these first minute or so of trade.
In a negative tape. Raymond James upgrading Comerica and First Citizen bank shares. And part of the thinking here, we also saw.
What is going on, guys? I don't know if CNBC is streaming it. If you guys if you guys see it on YouTube, let me know and I'll switch the stream. They were talking about it on CNBC just a second ago. And by it, I mean the central bank forum where Jerome Powell is about to speak. Moments away, Fed Chair Jerome Powell, ECB, Lagarde. Okay.
Much more free reign.
You were not a banking report.
Now it's Sarah Eisen and everybody else. Yeah. But
anyway, what I really wanted to talk about before market open, or now that market is open, is Tesla hit 223 pre-market. It is now trading at around 220 after deliveries came in much better than expected, which is a hell yeah. Super excited about that. Also, it feels like I haven't been live on YouTube in a very long time. Obviously, we go live every single day, but it feels like I haven't been live on YouTube for a very long time. I think the last time I was live on YouTube was for CPI or something like that. But yeah, just waiting for Jerome Powell here. In terms of the NASDAQ, yeah, this is impossible to trade here. Just yet. We did take, I think we just took London high. Yeah. So we just took London high. And by the way, I'm in the process of editing that free ICT course. Do you run a live trade room? I don't know. Does someone want to tell Vishal? What's wrong with NVIDIA? It can't get a green day. Definitely the YouTube crowd is definitely different than the in-house crowd. I'll tell you that much. Those guys complaining about NVIDIA can't get a green day. Literally the stock that's up 1,000% in a year is complaining that it can't get a green day. We just took London high. What is ES doing here? Oh, these people are speaking. I'll unmute it when Jerome is speaking. Unless you guys want to hear this later here, but I'm not interested in that. We haven't yet taken London high on ES, so there is. The thing is, like, when Jerome grabs the mic, there will probably be another up-down spike. I want to see this 1 minute candle close here. I'm going to turn this on because I want to know if Jerome's going to talk soon.
That it was not a predetermined path that we were embarking upon, but a step that would be followed by further review of data, further understanding of where our three-leg.
What kind of watch is Jerome wearing? When he wears his black Submariner, he usually is ready to talk shit.
In that disinflationary path, and we are in that sort of slow recovery, which came about during the first quarter and which we hope will persevere. But all of that is flawed with uncertainties and big question mark about the future.
Sounds like you're setting up the market for a pause now. Is that right?
I'm not setting up anything for anyone. I think that it's for everyone to really look under the skin of the economy and see where it's heading, and appreciating what our reaction function is and how we're likely to decide.
Chair Powell, you have also been on a journey and have been on hold since last July, have not cut rates like the ECB in June. Why not? What are you waiting for?
So let me say that sitting here last year, there was a lot we didn't know, and we didn't know that we were just about to embark on a period of 7 months of much lower inflation readings. We didn't realize that the
Man, we can't close below this 1 minute fair value gap. It's hard. I can't take it short.
things actually worked out in the second half of last year in a remarkable way. Then, as you know, in the first quarter of this year, we continue to have solid growth in the first half, actually, solid growth, and a labor market that's still strong, although we've seen a continued rebalancing in the labor market. And inflation, after pausing in the first quarter, now shows signs of resuming its disinflationary trend. So it's a little bit different journey. So where that leaves us is we've made quite a bit of progress in bringing inflation back down toward target. While the labor market has remained strong and growth has continued, we want that process to continue. I think the last reading and the one before it in inflation, the one before it to a lesser extent, do suggest that we are getting back on a disinflationary path. We want to be more confident that inflation is moving sustainably down toward 2% before we start the process of reducing how tight our policy is, of loosening policy. That's what we've said, and what we'd like to see is more data like what we've been seeing recently. We'd also like to see the labor market remain strong. We've said that if we saw the labor market unexpectedly weakening, that is also something that could call for a reaction.
How much more confident do you want to be? The PCE number 2.6, that wasn't too bad that we got last week.
That's right. So we're actually on a 12-month basis. We're actually at 2.6, both headline and core for inflation, and that represents really significant progress. I think we peaked at 5.4% in core, and the same thing has happened in headline. We've gone from 7.1 to 2.6. So yes, we've made a lot of progress. We just want to understand that the levels that we're seeing are a true reading on what is actually happening with underlying inflation. And as we were saying at the last part of last year, people were saying, you need to declare victory, this is over. And then we had a quarter of inflation which was well above 3%. So we want to be more confident, and frankly, because the U.S. economy is strong and the labor market is strong, we have the ability to take our time and get this right. And that's what we're planning to do.
So September?
I'm not going to be landing on any specific dates here today. Let me also say that we're well aware that if we go too soon, that we could undo the good work we've done in bringing down inflation, and if we go too late, we could unnecessarily undermine the recession, the recovery, and the expansion, and so we're aware that we have two-sided risks now, more so than we did a year ago. That's a big change. I'd say risks are coming much more into balance now.
President Campos, you have been on a different journey because you've actually been cutting rates for much of.
All right, so Jerome Powell basically saying that he wants to see more good data, no clear indication of when they'll cut rates and follow the European Central Bank. There are relative equal highs here on the NASDAQ. Guys, there's 700 of you here and 59 likes. How shameful. How shameful. Costs you nothing. Give it a thumbs up so that other people can find it. What I'm waiting for here, I'm waiting for these equal highs to get taken. Which I think they will. You also do have a bearish breaker right here on the 1 hour. So waiting for these to get taken, and then I will look for an optimal trade if these can get taken here. We also do have major news at 10 a.m., which is JOLTS job opening. So that is also market-making news. I mean, market-shifting news. This is yesterday's high. Yeah, I'm not going to take a trade until these highs are taken. So I need yesterday's high taken on ES and NQ. That is also yesterday's high, but it's also equal highs from Friday. So that's what I'm waiting for. All right, let's look at Tesla real quick, and then I want to get back to that. I don't want to miss that, actually. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set an alert so that TradingView pings me, because I don't want to miss that. That's... Fuck, this might happen now. Hold on. This might happen now. Yeah, this is happening now. All right. Took highs, hit the breaker. ES hasn't taken the highs yet. I might try a NASDAQ short. I would much rather ES take the highs too. When gold sell? Now. Sell gold now. I don't know. What are you looking at, dude? What trade are you looking at? ES has London high above? I think ES already took London high, dude. London high from yesterday? Why would I care about that? I think this is a short right here. Man, we can't get below. ES looks significantly weaker than NQ. But It still has to resolve this high here. So I think it bounces off this inverted gap and resolves this high first. So we have 5534. We have about 7 more points on ES to bounce off this and get there. And I'm hoping it does so in the next 10, 15 minutes. Let's see if it bounces off this.
Back up toward a more sustainable level. You see wages moving, wage increases moving back down toward a sustainable level of wage increases, inflation, and productivity. You see, vacancies to unemployment ratio coming back to where it was pre-pandemic, and so many other measures I could mention. So that's what we're seeing. And so the labor market, wage increases are still a bit above where they would wind up in equilibrium, but nonetheless, you can see the labor market is cooling off, appropriately so, and we're watching it very carefully. But it doesn't look like it's heating up or presenting a big problem for inflation going forward. Indeed, it looks like it's doing just what you would want it to do, which is to cool off over time, not quickly, not suddenly, not steeply. It's kind of what we've been hoping to see and have been seeing. So, and services generally they're such a mixed bag, particularly non-housing services are a mixed bag. Some of what you're seeing is catch-up inflation from inflationary pressures that happened earlier. That's true with insurance. It's also true with housing services inflation, where you've got some pent-up rent increases that have to work their way off. It turns out it takes more than 1 year for that to happen. It takes several years. So we see all that in train, and we don't see ourselves getting back to 2% inflation this year or next year, or maybe late next year, but in the year after. The main thing is we're making real progress.
Can you keep cutting President Lagarde if he keeps holding? Does it make it harder?
Well, look, I'm going to give you the conventional response because that's the conventional question you ask me. We do take into account the spillover impact of whatever is decided by other esteemed colleagues. And obviously, my esteemed friend, Chair Powell, is one of those. So we take that into account, but we also determine our monetary policy on the basis of what we see in our economy, and we look at the data that we get, the impact that multiple factors have on our economies and its numbers.
Does it matter for you, President Campos, what the Fed does next?
Well, I think it matters to an extent, but I think there is one point that is worth mentioning, which is more recently we've seen a sell-off in some of the EM, and especially the EM that had more, there were like more the best cases for investment. And you see that this is being explained with local news. But when you have a lot of sell-offs in different markets and they're all explained by local news, you have to ask yourself if there is a more fundamental factor driving that. And I think there might be. It's difficult to make the case right now, but definitely what we see now is there is more risk premium in a lot of the emerging market countries. And it was very synchronized with the long end of the US curve, and that correlation broke. So we've seen the last couple of weeks that even though the 10-year yield is more or less stable, even actually going a little bit lower, we saw a bit of a sell-off in emerging market countries. And I think that has to do with the fact that as you go for longer with higher rates and much higher debt, you start extracting liquidity from the market, and eventually you are repricing that liquidity. It could just be a temporary adjustment in EM, or it could be the beginning of a more profound movement. We need to wait and see. But I think the correlation between the US Treasury and some of the EM has been broken in the last couple of weeks. And I think we should pay attention to that.
What about the fundamentals in emerging markets? Because the economies seem to do better during this hiking cycle than they have previously. Why do you think that is, and does it continue?
I think most EMs did a better job in terms of, or at least an equal job in terms of anticipating the process and starting the hiking process. Also, in the fiscal part, on average, emerging market countries spent more or less 10%.
I don't think this is a short yet, guys. ES still hasn't taken previous day high. I think this is a long until we get here. And at that point, I think then we'll find shorts. It keeps getting railroaded at this inverted gap though. But eventually I want to see it punch through. Eventually I want to see it punch through before taking any shorts.
Just had a recession in 2023, which not only turned out to be wrong in the case of the US, we had well in excess of 3% growth. So.
But you still see policy as restrictive?
Yes, we do.
How restrictive? Well,
so that's kind of an empirical question. So I guess I would say, if you look at, we do think policy is restrictive, and we think that's appropriate. I think if you look at the labor market in particular, you're seeing demand for labor gradually come down in the form of job openings, and now a slight softening in unemployment in the form of wages. You see demand coming down, not just the supply that we're getting, but also demand coming down. You also see the effects of high interest rates in the housing market and some other interest rate sensitive things. So you see that, and I think, I do think that restrictive policy is working hand in hand with this broad supply side recovery we've had, where we've seen the unwinding of the shortages and bottlenecks from the pandemic. We've also seen a recovery in labor force participation among prime age individuals in the US, and then some immigration, which has also been a positive supply shock. So we've seen all those things work together to give us, really.
If we close above this fair value gap here right now, then I think ES is going to go to 55.41.
Cut rates to protect it.
It's what I said earlier.
Is it a bigger risk? Sorry, I'll rephrase. Is it a bigger risk that you cut prematurely and inflation stays sticky, or that you wait too long and the economy loses more momentum?
That is the question, and so our answer to the question is we serve a dual mandate, right? And these two things are embodied in that mandate. The risk on the inflation side is that you move too quickly, inflation comes back, and we didn't really solve the problem, and then we have to go back in, and that would be very disruptive to the economy. So the other risk is that we wait too long. We understand that, and the labor market softens too much. Perhaps we lose the expansion. So needless to say, we don't want to do that either. So, but at the same time, so we've got to balance those two. And again, given the strength we see in the U.S. economy, we can approach that question carefully. But as I said earlier, though, you see, a year or so ago, we were talking about inflation, and our framework called for us to focus on the variable, the mandate that is further from its goal. That's not. They've come back much closer into balance, and a good way to see it is the beverage curve analysis that everybody talks about and looks at. We've come straight down the beverage curve, but you're really getting to that place relative to job openings and hiring rates, where traditionally the beverage curve is flattened out, which would mean higher unemployment as a result of further declines in job openings. So you can't know that with precision, but it's very much understood by us that we have two-sided risks and we have to manage them.
What about the recovery in the Eurozone, President Lagarde? It's also been pretty resilient, especially on the unemployment front. How confident do you feel in sticking this soft landing?
Well, we reached a level of confidence back in June when we decided to actually cut rates by 25 basis points.
I got to stop that.
But as I said in the opening remarks, it's not something that is taken for granted, that is a given.
Sorry. I was saying that I got stopped out on that one. Probably shouldn't be trading while Jerome Powell is talking, but I still think we get a bounce here to 55.41 on ES. So the next trade that I take, I'm going to wait until Jerome Powell stops talking.
In this universe of one risk versus the other, but where data is so important.
And we also have JOLTS job openings at 10 a.m.
Always with the burden of the lag, on-time data or not, all of that has to be taken into account and analyzed in details so that we can feel really confident that we can go forward.
At the same time, there are also political risks. Certainly they're front and center. It was nice of all the authorities to make elections all happen this week, certainly in France and in England. President Lagarde, is there anything the ECB can do to shield the rest of the Eurozone from feeling any negative impact from a divided government in France or from whatever the result is of the French election in a negative way?
I thank you so much for your question.
It can't be a surprise.
Because I'm not going to comment on the political situation of any of the member states, particularly those that are facing elections at the moment. But, obviously, the European Central Bank has to do what it has to do. Our mandate is price stability. Price stability is obviously relying on...
All right. Let's look at Tesla real quick. Oh, holy shit. Tesla 224. Hell yeah. So deliveries on Tesla came in higher than expected. 443,000 versus 439,000. Shout out to those of you guys who actually bought the dip on Tesla. We bought the dip on Tesla. The last buy that I had publicly was at 152. And then when it hit 146-ish, I bought even more. But this was back in March, right? So obviously you had to hold this for quite a bit of time before we saw this and got rewarded for it. However, it was pretty easy to see once we broke out of this pennant and retested it that Tesla was in for an extremely bullish ride, especially riding the AI hype, right? That's coming with robotaxi and FSD. Now, what's important to note with Tesla is that Tesla has never had, in the last 4 years at least, right, since 2020, Tesla has always had a positive year-to-date gain, meaning that wait a minute. Tesla's always had a positive year-to-date gain. What? Interesting. Tesla's always had a positive year-to-date gain, except for the bear market of 2022. So right now, Tesla, by the way, even though we've gained massively, right? We've been up since April 24th. Tesla is up 60%, which is amazing for those of us that bought the dip. Tesla is still down. %10 now, year to date, right? So since January 1st, Tesla's still down 10%. I think that, with these delivery numbers and with the talks of AI hype, I think that Tesla's next target is 250 to 265-ish. At that point, I will probably consider offloading some shares. But for those of you that, especially for those of you that follow me on Twitter, you know that this is something that we've been really waiting for a while. And I talked about Tesla's summer rallies. This was June 19th now, so what, 2-3 weeks ago? Tesla at this point was still even at 184. And I was talking about Tesla's summer rallies and how Tesla, even during the depths of the bear market, Tesla will rally in the summer. And this is something that I was expecting here. So for me, my next price target on Tesla is between 250 and 265-ish. I do think that if you haven't bought Tesla yet, you are probably a bit late. And I would question, if you didn't buy Tesla before, why is it that you're thinking of buying it now, right? Like, definitely shows a lack of conviction if you didn't buy it before. I think that there isn't an opportunity really in the short term to be had. In the long term, yes. In the short term, I don't think there's an opportunity to be had. Unless you want to take the risk and try to ride it from now until, 250 or 265. Do you think it will hit 265 in the next month? Bro, if you aren't prepared to buy the dip, I'm not going to enable your propensity to want to gamble now when Tesla hit fresh highs. I want to see ES take this here. Still 55.41. Right now, the market is on pause as these clowns are talking, but we just had data come in, the JOLTS job openings. Okay, so 8.14 million versus 7.96 expected. So let's see what that does to the market. I'm hoping we get a bounce here to 55.41, and then at that point, I will look for shorts. Tesla's global sales fell for the second straight quarter. Another sign of weakening demand. I don't care what you're writing to me, Mark. You can try to justify negative news all you want because you didn't buy the dip. Fact of the matter is, it's at 225, and just a couple weeks ago, it was at 170. Just a couple weeks before that, it was at 150. You had all the chance in the world to buy, bro. You can try to justify to yourself or to me all you want that Tesla shouldn't be at this price. The fact of the matter is, I've been consistent on why Tesla is going to have a run up in the summer, and it has nothing to do with anything that you are any of the negative headlines that you're trying to push here. Right? I see this all the time from angry people who missed buying the dip. They'll try to justify to themselves and to others why something shouldn't be priced where it's at. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you say. I think we get to 55.41, guys. Let's see. I think we get to 55.41, guys. At least that's what I'm hoping to see. And if we get to 55.41 and NQ hasn't made new highs, like if we get to 55.41, then we'll have S&T divergence, which would justify potentially going short after these clowns are done talking. Come on. I was just wondering, with it missing numbers, why it's up so much. Oh my God, bro. Tell me you don't understand the market without telling me you don't understand the market. One, it didn't miss numbers. I don't know what numbers you were looking at. Right? 443,956 is what it delivered. It was expected to deliver 439,000. Which one is a higher number? What it delivered or what it expected? Where do you see that it missed numbers? First of all. Let's just start there. Second of all, momentum, hype, trend, FOMO buying, as well as sympathy plays are all more important than one quarter's delivery numbers. Like I've been saying time and time again, Tesla is the last of the Mag 7 not to ride the AI hype. And you cannot tell me that Tesla is not an AI company, right? Tesla's at the forefront. Tesla's at the forefront of AI. All right, let's see if we get to 55.41. This might be enough right here, by the way, taking out these data highs. I would like to see 55.41. It would be a cleaner move. Yahoo Finance made a hit piece about Tesla delivering less in China. I don't care. I don't care. Like, when are you going to understand that it's much more important for the momentum trade to deliver on AI hype than it is to sell cars? Jonas, you're right, bro. I said there might be a contrarian move after the results. Yeah. That might be enough right there. All right. If NASDAQ gets back in here, I'm shorting this. We now have a unicorn short here. What a bitch. All ES wanted were those data highs. It created that SNT. Uh, 20060. Tesla did miss numbers second quarter in a row. Bro, you're such a pain in the ass, bro. You're such a pain in the ass. Tesla did not miss Q2 numbers, right? They missed Q1 numbers. Sayed Aziz says no one cares about Tesla. All right, bro. This is definitely the YouTube crowd, I'll tell you that much. And not the Discord crowd. Like, you can literally just go up to Google and read the report. 443, 956 compared to 439. Which number is bigger? Let's do this.
Bankers about where policy rates are going, R-starred, the neutral rate, what that rate should look like, and whether it's different after COVID. What do you think?
Can we go back to trade?
Yeah, sure. Please.
So, R-star. I guess I would start by saying that the thing that we write down as part of our summary of economic projections, and the thing that economists mean by R-stars, is a longer run concept. It's the rate of interest that would hold the economy at equilibrium at a time when we're at stable prices and maximum employment and there are no shocks hitting the economy. So this is not the economy today. So the first thing to say is that when we're sitting in the boardroom in Washington thinking about whether our policy rate is the appropriate rate for this economy right now, we're not battling over what long-run R-star is, because this is a different economy. This is an economy that's still recovering from the pandemic. And so many forces are pushing it this way and that way, and there's really not a lot of precedent. So it's a very challenging time. But it's not, the question, the R-star question is a really interesting question, and that is, are we going to go back to the very low levels of neutral rates that we had in the recovery of the global financial crisis? Or are we going to go part of the way back from today's high rates to that? And, you know, intuitively, most people think that we won't go back to those very, very low rates that we saw, you know, during the global financial crisis recovery period. But we don't really know. I mean, the neutral rate has moved around, we think, by slow-moving, longer-run forces, demographics, technology, productivity over time, all of those things move it around. Ultimately, the balance between savings and investment. So it's a great conversation to have. But honestly, when we're looking at policy in the boardroom, it's how is our policy affecting today's economy, and do we think we're getting the results that we want? And, you know, by and large, in a world where this isn't a world of precision, we think we are. We're getting a gradually cooling economy, a gradually cooling labor market, progress on inflation, 4% unemployment, 2% growth. We're getting kind of what we would want to have. And so that's, I worry that some people, no one in this room, but some people think that the R-star debate is the thing that dictates our assessment of how restrictive policy is. It's really not. Unless you think that the long run rate is the same as today's rate.
I think that investors are trying to figure out, though, where you're going to end up and what the policy path looks like once you start cutting rates. And it becomes important then.
No, I agree. It does. Yeah. It's what will we discover to be? We'll find it empirically. What will we discover it to be? And I think there's a debate going on. There are people who feel very strongly that it hasn't changed and that it has changed. And ultimately, it's unknowable. It does matter for the longer run. It matters for where rates will settle out, but it doesn't matter much for policy decisions today, which are the ones we're actually making.
I guess we want to know if there are like 10 cuts coming or 15 cuts. I mean, do you think, President Campos, it's changed post-COVID? Are you dealing with a different economy?
So the R-star story for emerging market countries is a little bit different. So, for example, if you had a table of countries of Latin America, you would find that at least the models internally used by their own central banks, in some cases you had R-star going higher, like Brazil, from 3 to 4.5. But in some cases you actually had R-star going lower. So the question is, what is the short-term view and what is the long-term view, as Chairman Jay described? And I think for us it's more like trying to understand what is the structural reason for the neutral rate in Brazil to be so high, 4.5% real time, is really high. And I think a lot of it has a lot of structure.
June House says, thoughts on 443 versus 439. Lewis says, they didn't make racks with your Tesla calls like we did. Yeah, hell yeah. Webull did not show the positive news. It just showed the negative. All right. So trading on Webull is literally the same thing. Oh my God. Let me see if I take this short here. Hold on. We hit the breaker in the fair value gap. I might not copy this trade because it's still risky as news is going on. So I may not copy this trade across all accounts. I only like to copy A+ trades. But I think this is a short here. Do you think it's too late to get in Tesla now? Yes. I think this is a short to this fair value gap here. It's still risky because they're still talking. So I'm not copying this trade, but I took this in my real money account. Nice. Up 400 now. Let's go. I think we get down to at least 20,018. Let's see. I'm hoping to find a copied trade later, but I cannot copy trades like this. Not while news is going on. And I'm going to set my stop limit to break even. Say what you're going to say about trading on Webull. Yeah, you're trading on a Mickey Mouse platform, dude. Trading on Webull is like going to Disneyland for work. No disrespect to those of you that work at Disneyland. Like, if you work at Disneyland, shout out to you, but trading on Webull is like putting on a suit, taking your briefcase, your cup of coffee, kissing your wife on the way out, and telling her that you have a really important job to do, but you're going to go work at Disneyland. That's what trading on Webull is like. It's not about the UI. It's just a Mickey Mouse platform. It's not a serious platform. Here we go. 6:15. I'm taking profits here, guys. Taking profits here. I don't want to be a dick for a tick while news is going. $6.50 on that trade, guys. Easy money. Giovanni says, I hope you get stopped. Bro, you know what I love about fatherless fucks like Giovanni? Is it says much more about themselves than the insult that they're trying to convey. Right? Like, you could tell Giovanni is just a bitch of epic proportions, dude. That he hopes another man gets stopped because he doesn't have the skills to trade himself. And his next comment is, get a better barber. I bet you this guy's a bald fuck. Not only doesn't he know how to trade, which is why he hopes I get stopped, but he's probably losing hair, which is why he's commenting on mine. And he's wasting his time. Like, this is how much of a bitch this guy is. He's such a bitch that he would rather sit on his couch and talk shit to a man than pick up a skill himself. Like, that's how much of a bitch Giovanni is. That he'd rather sit on his couch. All he's doing is warming up his seat, his lifeless fucking seat, just so that he could talk shit to another man because he's too lazy to actually make use of his time and pick up a skill for himself. This is how much of a bitch he is. Keep watching, bro. Keep watching. Look, just know, Giovanni, I would never waste 1 minute of my fucking life watching you and your pathetic life. Never. And I wish well on everybody. I want everybody who's on this chat to make money. Everybody, which is why I go live on YouTube. I want everybody on this money to make chat. I mean, everybody in this chat to make money. I would never wish that someone loses money. He said, I hope you get stopped. Eat it, bro. Eat a dick. I could buy your mom for a whole year with this money. But I won't. T Black, appreciate your donation to St. Jude's, man. Thank you so much. Serrano, what's up, brother? Appreciate your donation, man. I'm going to find a copy trade for you guys. I couldn't copy that trade. I took that in my real money account. He's still wasting time, bro. Waste your time, bro. Waste your time. Waste your time. It ain't my time, bro. You waste your time watching me. I would never waste my time watching you. As a man, how does that fucking make you feel, bro? You should feel like the bitch that you are. All right.
And I do wonder if they're the same or different.
So
Chair Powell, what's the
still-
biggest risk facing the U.S.?
Sorry, we still have. Oh, hold on. I want to hear what Powell has to say about the market.
To that, because it's, you know, we know how to deal with credit risk. We know how to deal with lots of kinds of risk, you know, market dysfunction, things like that. But we haven't really had a big successful cyber attack on a financial market utility or a bank. And that's the kind of thing which I think is, you know, the stuff of lying awake at night. I would also, today though, honestly, really it is just the balance that we talked about, getting the balance on monetary policy right during this critical period. That's really what I think about in the wee hours.
President Lagarde?
Same thing.
Really? Really? Cyber risk?
I think, you know, I'm saying that touching wood, actually, and I wish, yeah. Because it's one, if you ask the financial sector, if you ask banks with which we interact a lot, sometimes much to their chagrin, but eventually to their satisfaction in the long run, I'm sure, because we supervise them carefully. But typically, that's a risk that they flag as one of their top priority risk, and on which I think we need to constantly improve the level of coordination, first, second, third line of defense, and best way to respond to those. Now, clearly, I'm concerned as a person more than as president of the ECB about the back.
All right. I can't wait till these fools stop talking, because clearly the market right now is in these really ugly barcoding phases. Fabrizio, thank you so much, bro. Thank you so much for your donation. Appreciate you. Thank you. Man, I'm so happy about Tesla, bro. I'm going to give you a couple of other stock picks that I'm looking at now. Obviously, there isn't much value, right? Like, I think people that learn how to buy the dip, eventually they'll be good. Most people will not have the stomach to be able to buy dips, and they will always chase late, right? So that's why people are like trying to buy Tesla now at 230, 220. They couldn't fathom buying at 140, 145, whatever. And unfortunately, when you look up and down the board, right, whether you're looking at Meta or Google or Amazon, which I think Amazon will break 200 soon, or even Apple, right? Apple, for those of you that are in the group, you know that we bought Apple around the 165. Actually, let me get you the exact alert here. On June 11th, no, sorry, March 5th, around the time that I bought Tesla, I said next buy in Apple is at 165. Right? So you cannot be afraid to buy the dip on blue chips if you have analysis, like proper analysis that supports the reason you're buying it, right? But at the end of the day, these are blue chips. So even if you don't, just the fact that a blue chip is down 20 or 30%, if you don't know what to buy, don't take a chance at buying stuff that is speculative, right? like SoFi and PayPal. Just buy blue chips, guys. If you have no idea what you're doing, you don't know how to read a financial statement, you don't know what cash flow means, you don't know what price to book or price to sales mean, you don't know how to feel the momentum on the market, which is that AI is clearly the next bubble. And all of these Mag 7 companies have been making huge pushes into AI, including Apple, which bought 30 AI companies last year. Knowing that these companies are about to make AI announcements, right? Even if you can't do any of that, if you see blue chips and they're down 20%, just buy them. Just buy them and store them, okay? Even if you have no idea what you're doing. But the point is, I don't think that there is a ton of value here, right? Sure, you could take a crack at NVIDIA here. NVIDIA, I think, is down 10% now. Down 13% from highs, right? Sure, you could take a crack at NVIDIA. You could take a crack at, down 12% from highs. I'm curious about Chipotle. Chipotle after the split actually looks interesting to me. Chipotle's down 12% from highs. I think Nike will struggle. I don't think Nike's an easy buy. I think it is fine to buy Nike at 75. I think it will struggle. And I'll tell you why in a second if you guys are interested. But I don't mind buying Nike at 75. I just don't think it'll be the rocket that you think it is. But there isn't much value left on the market, right? Like Netflix is trading near all-time highs. So there are a couple of things that I'm looking at where I think there are asymmetrical bets, right? Daryl, appreciate your donation, man. Thank you so much. Wow, a lot of you donating right now. Fabrizio, Kathy, appreciate your donation. Apologize if I miss anybody. T Black, Serrano, appreciate your donation. Thank you guys. And Daryl, thank you. But I think there are a couple of asymmetrical plays here. So one thing, if you guys noticed, that Trump said about Bitcoin, he said he wants to make sure that every Bitcoin going forward, by the way, this doesn't matter. It's clear that Trump doesn't understand Bitcoin, but he said that we want to make sure every Bitcoin going forward is mined in the US. It doesn't matter where it's mined. You know, it's not like the Federal Reserve or other central banks where, you know, gold has to be physically stored somewhere, or, you know, US dollars have to be physically stored somewhere. And miners, when they create Bitcoin, they end up dumping it on the market anyway, right? So it's like, I guess ideologically to him, it matters where Bitcoin is mined. And he was saying that the next few, or every Bitcoin going forward, he wants to see it mined in the US. So if he ends up becoming president, which please don't get me started in an ideological debate. Like, I really don't give a shit. I'm not pro any politician. I think they're all liars. I don't really care about any of them. This is just a matter of fact statement that if he becomes president, you could potentially see an initiative with some of the American mining companies, where I don't know if they'll even get government grants like American chip companies have, right? In order to up their mining capacity and mine more Bitcoin here, right? But I do think that regardless of what happens with the election, I think that Bitcoin miners are definitely something to buy and hold here. And just like Tesla, where, you know, I would make videos about it when it was in this consolidation. I'd make videos about it. I'd say that I bought Tesla at 145. People would say, you're stupid. China's going to kill Tesla. Nobody buys Teslas anymore, et cetera, right? All you had to do was buy it at asymmetrical prices and wait. That's it. That's all you had to do, right? Same thing with Apple. Same thing with with basically any blue chip that has taken a hit. So I think I'm not calling Bitcoin miners blue chips, but I am saying that I do think there's an asymmetrical play there. And when Bitcoin finally has its post-halving rally, which will take maybe an entire 6 months to a year, but when it finally does have its post-halvings rally, I do think that these mining companies, CLSK, Mara, Riot, I do think that these are due for a huge, huge run, and way more than a double up even, right? Right now, Riot, for instance, is trading under 9. Its all-time high was almost 21, right? And I think it will even surpass that at some point. So I do think that the miners are just a buy and hold here. I wouldn't even worry about their day-to-day fluctuations until Bitcoin does have its big breakout, which it will, right? Everyone, like when things are consolidating or tanking, people cannot see how much of a matter of fact it is, right? How inevitable it is that Bitcoin will have a breakout. Just like I saw, it was inevitable that Tesla would have a breakout, that Apple would have a breakout. It's inevitable that Bitcoin will have a breakout. And it's inevitable in my view that Bitcoin will be 100,000 per Bitcoin within the next year. Might take a full year, but I don't care about that, right? So I think there's an asymmetrical bet there. I do think Celsius has a cause for accumulating some shares here. It's not a kind of stock that I would go all in on. You can also sell puts on Celsius. It is rather cheap. So if you are interested in running a strategy like the wheel, where you sell puts, get a sign, sell calls, etc., I do think Celsius is a pretty good candidate for that. And that's pretty much it, right? Like probably picking up some Chipotle on the dip here after the split. It might drop some more. Probably below 60, that's fine. But I do think starting to accumulate Chipotle here is fine. Nike is okay for accumulating here. I don't think it'll rocket up immediately. I think it will take some time. But those are really the only few things that I'm interested in picking up here. For those of you asking me if it's too late to buy Tesla, the obvious answer is yes, dude. Yes, it's too late. Like, how are you okay pulling the trigger at 230, but not just yesterday at 200, just a week ago at 180? Like, TLT soon? Yes, I do think that bonds will have a rally here. And I actually like TLT right at this price point, right? I think that the 10-year has made a run, a pretty, I would say abnormal run. And the reason that I say that is because a lot of data did come in weaker than expected, and the 10-year still rallied, which is counterintuitive. So I do think that, as long as this right here is right around the max that the 10-year will run, if yields start dropping again, then I think TLT, TMF, Treasury futures like ZN, there might be a longing opportunity here. I actually might take a positional trade on ZN here, meaning a multi-day trade, going long ZN. Something like this. Something like this. And holding this for, a good couple weeks to a month. Do you think the 10 years rallying due to Japan's currency issues? Yes, partly yes. Yes. Appreciate you guys watching. 1,000 of you here, 309 likes. Hit that thumbs up, guys, so that other people can find this stream. I'm gonna try and find another trade for you here. We just hit a banger. Oh shit! I didn't realize this happened. Powell must be talking that
in
shit.
both political parties on both sides of Capitol Hill and everywhere. I don't think that that's really in question, as long as we just are seen to be doing our job and staying on task at all times.
Jim, how far do you think he'll take that? Will he not want to even show a suggestion that they're getting political and thus wait until after the election, or not?
You mean for the September decision or other decisions before the election? I
Exactly.
think that, yeah, I mean, I think that the committee would feel confident to move, making an ordinary policy move with the data in hand. And I don't think anybody in the political world would worry about that. So I think, you know, if you look at the history, the Fed has been willing to move during an election cycle. So I think that's
not true.
A definite possibility. But, you know, to get to a September move, they're going to have to see, you know, continued good data on inflation so that they can be confident to make that first move. You know, I think just the notion that somebody's going to win an election because the Fed did something in September, I don't think that's how American politics works. I don't think that's where the median voter is. They're thinking about a whole host of much broader issues than a tactical move by the central bank.
And while they were on stage, Jim, the job openings data, the JOLTS, came out showing quite the resiliency in the jobs market, which kind of, dots this idea that the labor market remains strong. How do you think that plays a role in some of the discussion they were having with regard to the ability to orchestrate this very gradual slowdown in inflation while keeping...
What he said there is not true. He said that, you know, history shows the Fed does act or is ready to act before elections. There have actually been more rate hikes than rate cuts. And I can't believe that's a member of the Fed saying that. There have been more rate hikes than rate cuts during elections. I'm very tempted to short here, but the 5 minute and up do not promote that. Does not promote that. Plus, ES has not taken that high yet. So I can't. I think that there's a potential long on the table here to get up there. I really want to short, but I can't in good conscience. The 1 minute looks like a short. The 5 minute looks like a long. For sure, the 5 minute looks like a long. Why not TMF? I didn't say not TMF. I actually did say the exact letters TMF. But TMF is not a buy and hold stock, dude. TMF is a leverage ETF. You don't want to buy and hold leverage ETFs. If this 5 minute gap fails, then I'll think differently. But yeah. Thanks for going live. Appreciate you. Thank you for joining the live. Do you think Celsius will really bounce back after the ingredients listing going viral? Yes, I don't think. Dude, do you know how much shit Americans put in their body? Did you see the report on McDonald's meat yesterday? That it contains 1,400 different strands of DNA? Piyush, do you know how not to get hired as a designer? Is by spamming my chat. This is how you don't get hired. What about shorting 3x leverage ETF bond? What about it? Yeah, the 5 minute looks bullish here. And the 1 minute to me looks bearish. When there's that type of dislocation, Like for me, this is just a scalper's paradise here, honestly. Shorting inverse leverage ETF for a long time as okay. If you have to ask me, bro, whether you want to do an inception-like play on something super risky, if you have to ask, probably don't do it. Probably stick to something less risky. This guy wants to short a short ETF that's leveraged. Can't make out what time frame. It's right here. The time frame is listed right there. I'm very curious to see if NQ holds up this. This 5-minute fair value gap. From a high time frame perspective, there isn't really anything here indicating a long or short. Like the daily bias is not that clear here. There is a tiny fair value gap here on the 1 hour. And there are a bunch of imbalances up here on the 15-minute. So if I had to guess, I would say NQ is going higher. Which platform do you use? I use Thinkorswim for real money, and then Top Step and Apex for prop. Let me check CL and GC real quick. CL has an interesting play here. This is London we just took out. Darius, appreciate you, brother. Thank you for your donation, man. Thank you so much. I think there's a long here on oil. Let's see if it takes out these equal lows first. Failed auction? What does that even mean? What do you mean failed auction? Like, I know what you mean. I mean, I know what that means, but what are you trying to say? I think we go higher and test this 1 hour fair value gap. Appreciate you, Dave K. Thank you for the kind words, man. Thank you. We're in a daily fair value gap on what? On NQ, you mean? Yeah, but we closed below it already. Like this candle closed below the daily fair value gap already. So now we're just trading back up. Yeah, it's hard to be bearish here. I'm not bearish here, honestly. I do want to see at least on ES a major high get taken out, because other than that, we're just scalping here, guys. Like even that trade that I did earlier was from here down to here. It was just this range, right? I mean, it was like a good $700 per contract, but it was still a tight range, right? And those are the only types of moves that we'll see until something takes out a major high. Nardo says there's a DFVG below. Yeah, you're right. And this is something that I was monitoring for the last week, because we have equal lows here. I do think eventually we come down here. Yes, I agree with you. But that's currently not the draw on liquidity, meaning, see, now we're nearing that 1 hour gap that I was telling you about. So I'm hoping that these highs here, like I would love ES to take out that previous day high and for NQ to take out this, at least this 1 hour gap here. How do you define days that we're going to chop versus days where you get your full TP? That's a very good question, dude. It has to do with and I am coming out with a full free ICT course on YouTube that it's being edited right now. I'm done recording it actually, but that's such a good question. And the answer is based on your draw on liquidity, right? So if the draw on liquidity, if a major draw on liquidity has been taken, like a major high or major low, and it's clear, right? If it's super clear on the high time frame, then at that point you can play for a broader move. Until then, you really have to be sharp with shorter term. I mean, you can still stick to 2-to-1 trades. Like the one I took from here to here was a 2-to-1 trade. But you have to be really sharp with your entries and exits. You cannot bank on a broad move without having a clear picture on liquidity. I love these questions. You think Tesla to 300 by August 8th? Why do you think Goodman James is asking this question? Dude, I'm not a bookie. This is like asking, do you think the Knicks are going to win by 5 tonight? Just tell me. Do you think they're going to win by 5 tonight? Like, are you asking because you're interested in the Knicks, or are you asking because you have a bet that you really want to put on? This dude is like, do you think Tesla will hit 300 by August 8th. He wants to buy the most inflated options that you can imagine because Tesla is up 60% in 2 weeks. He wants to pay the highest price for options on the hope that it hits 300 by August 8th. Don't do that, bro. Don't do that. There are much easier ways to make money in the market. Gambling on inflated options are not one of them. Right? Like today I'm up today I'm up $10,000 on Tesla, and I didn't have to lift a finger or gamble on options. And that's just today. That's not yesterday or the day before or the day before or the day before. All right, so we hit that 1 hour fair value gap. Man, still that previous day high is so fucking elusive for ES. I really wanted to take this previous day high. Both NQ and ES took the data highs. That could be enough, but what's your take on Apple in the short term? My take on Apple in the short term is happy. I'm very happy because we bought Apple at 165 and today it's trading at 220. That's my take. Why can't you link the donation to PayPal? I don't know. I don't control that, bro. It's YouTube's charity program. I don't collect any of the money for St. Jude. It automatically goes from YouTube to St. Jude. It's something that you can set up fundraisers on YouTube. I don't control any of that. But thank you for thinking of donating. Appreciate you. Once ES takes us high, I'm interested in shorts, guys. Thank you for supporting St. Jude. Appreciate you. Thank you. Any thoughts on beating down stocks? A lot of thoughts and a lot of prayers for beating down stocks. Big thoughts and prayers. When do you plan to exit Tesla? I mean, for me, bro, I bought it at 145. I bought it at 152. I bought it last year at 101. Am I going to get those prices again? Probably not. So, I'm happy. I'm happy with my Tesla shares. And I think it is going to 250 to 265. I would be very surprised if it doesn't end the year with a positive year to date, because currently it's down 10% from January 1st. So yeah, I mean, it depends on when you bought. It depends on when you bought, but I think that the conferences in July might end up being, we might get a bump from them depending on what they announce, and then it might end up being like a sell the news event. But Tesla's summer rallies, if you look at it, they typically last until about August. So last year, this downturn happened starting in August. In 2022, this started in August. 2021 was a different beast. Obviously, we're still in the COVID bull market. So we didn't have a downturn that started in August. We did have a little bit of a drop here in August 2021. You know, we did drop 10% in August 2021, but then rallied to 400. And same thing in 2020. Even in August, we had a little bit of a 10% downturn, and then it rallied some more. So, you know, I do think we will get a pullback soon. Sure, late July, beginning of August. I do think we'll get a pullback on Tesla. But the prices that we bought it at, the prices that I sent out in the Discord, I don't think we'll get those prices. All right, let's go, ES. What's the charity? What is St. Jude, you're asking? It's a children's cancer research hospital. What's interesting to you about gold? Gold looks like shit here. This is very dangerous territory. You want a long gold when you have this here? I'm not down with the gold long here. I'm waiting for this. Yeah, so CL, this is very nice actually. So CL took SSL in a 2-hour fair value gap. This might also be, I wish it took more of this 4-hour, to be honest. But it definitely took this 1 hour. We're not out of the woods yet. It could definitely decline a little bit more. We do have a bullish breaker here at the 4-hour. Is 290 out of the question? Yes, impossible. Impossible. It's out of the question, bro. Don't even think about it. Tesla will never get to 290 again. It's impossible that it gets to 290. As a matter of fact, on the exchange itself, the price point 290 has been ripped off of Tesla. So it can never get to 290. It's like mathematically impossible. It will go from 289, skip 290, and go to 291. Guys, what kind of questions are these, man? It's a market. Anything's possible. 290 is possible. 400 is possible. 300 is possible. 180 is possible. 150 is possible. 101 is possible. 420 is possible. I'm going to set an alert here on ES. Because if it gets here, I definitely want to be alerted. If ES takes previous day high, it's on. It's on. CL looks interesting too, guys. I just, it needs confirmation that the 1 hour is the draw for the day below London. We need it to pop above here and do something like this. GC, I wouldn't dare touch right now. It's too precarious for a short, and it's too precarious for a long. So there's no trade on GC. Are you Turkish? No. Is that a good guess? Guys, is that a good guess? Turkish? What's the consensus? Can we run a poll here? Start a poll. Oh, hell yeah. Let's get fun with this. Do I look Turkish? Let's see what the poll says. I'll say, as I've always said, Morocco. I think Morocco is a better guess than Turkish. Chewy says Puerto Dominican. So Puerto Rican and Dominican, I think that's a better guess than Turkish too. But let's see what people think. After that 420 reference, you clearly get basic sometimes. I'm willing to take a lie detector test, and I will bet you $1 million to the charity of your choice that if there was a way to detect how long ago you smoked marijuana, that you would not detect marijuana in my system for over 2 decades, bro. I don't smoke weed. People think that. I don't know why. Like maybe because I'm always up early in the morning because of West Coast hours. So my eyes look tired. I haven't smoked weed since I was 19, bro. I'm 43 years old. The last time I smoked weed, I was 19 years old. And I will take a lie detector test. This is something I get accused of all the time. I don't smoke weed. It doesn't even agree with my body or my mind. And I have no problem if that's like your thing and you're able to function and do it and still be productive. Good for you. My mind does not work well with weed, man. That's why I stopped doing it when I was a teenager. Like I'm stone cold dead. I cannot function. It's always crazy to me people that are able to smoke weed and just go to work or go to school or whatever. Like bro, I turn into like the statue on Easter Island, like those stone statues on Easter Island, like just stone dead. Espresso and cigars, for me, yeah, for me that's a much better luxury than, or I guess a much better vice than weed. And I barely drink. I'll drink on vacation. But not at home, or I never drink at home. And if I go out, I might have like one or two, but in general, I don't drink much. But I definitely don't smoke weed. All right, what is the status on this poll? Do I look Turkish? 39% of you said yes. 40% of you said yes. 60% said no. I mean, I don't know. I guess at almost half of you think I look Turkish. Amazing. MP3 Fitness says meth. Do I smoke meth? Only when your mom offers it to me. And I have to turn it down all the time. But I just watch her do it because I'm polite. She says, do you want meth? I'm like, look, Miss MP3 Fitness, you know how I feel about this, okay? I respect your rights to do it. And I'll watch you do it, but I can't do it. So I'm only around meth when I'm around your mom. And even then, I don't partake. I'm just polite. So I let her partake. Come on, ES. Chase says, what did I just walk into? A real gentleman. His mom has no teeth. Keith says, I feel so bad. I smoke with her sometimes, but I don't inhale. Oh, I've created monsters in this chat. THC and ICT, bad combination. You guys are fucking stand-up comedians, man. Oh, man. Do you always have market depth turned off when you're Dom? I don't even look at this, dude. This just allows me, on TradingView, this just pops up. It just allows me to enter trades. Buy and sell. I have my TraderVate hooked up to my TradingView. This, I don't even look at. I don't even care about this. I don't look at DOM or market depth or any of that. What about mushrooms? No, dude. No, I can't handle any of that stuff. Again, no judgment. Like, if that's your thing and you're able to function and it doesn't impede your productivity, by all means, have fun. I can't do any of that stuff, dude. Like, my brain is not wired for that. I'm the type of person, like, if I was your friend and we were doing psychedelics, Very strange. I'm the type of person that like I would go somewhere and never come back. Like my mind would go somewhere that it will never recover from. Right? Like I'm the type of friend that you'll have where people will like I'll be a vegetable and then people, will sympathize for me and be like, "Man, yeah, Z was a really good trader, but there's this one time we did mushrooms in Joshua Tree and he started talking about the multiverse and then he just never stopped talking about it." Like that's me. So, no, I don't do mushrooms. All right. Are you going to trade any earnings for run-ups? I don't gamble on earnings, dude. The market is not a casino. The market is not a casino, bro. Like, treat the market seriously. And I mean this wholeheartedly. I'm not taking a shot at you. I mean to just the general public that are participating in the market, right? Like, I've been there before. What is the market to you? Is it just a place where you can try things and hope that one day you profit, one day you don't, one day you profit, one day you don't? Your balance never really goes up significantly. It's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. You haven't really had a consistently profitable year. Oh, earnings are coming up. Let me gamble a little bit on earnings. Oh, I missed Tesla. Maybe I'll try at 230. Oh shit, it dropped to 202. Not time to sell. Like, that's what the market is to most people. And I know because I was there, dude. Like, treat the market with respect and expect consistency. And it will reward you, right? This whole like, are you gonna trade some earnings and hope that it runs up and maybe this stock runs up on earnings, maybe I'll buy puts on this stock? That's not trading, dude. You just have access to buttons. That's all that is. So no, I don't trade earnings like that. Like, the market is something you could be consistent at. The thing is, people don't expect that. And so they treat it disrespectfully, right? The market is something you could be consistent at. But people just try too much shit because they don't, one, know the formula for consistency, and two, they don't expect it for themselves. They just turn on the computer and just start trying stuff. Like, I've been on the stream for 2 hours and taken one fucking trade. And I'm just waiting for this level here. The only time that I'll trade earnings is if I have a lot of info. So I'll give you an example, okay? Let's look up earnings coming up. 1 second. Earnings. Come on, ES. Don't do that to me, bro. Please take out that previous high. All right. So what earnings do we have upcoming this week? We only have... Wait, what about for the month? This account usually has the monthly earnings. Oh, wow, this person really likes this meme. There aren't many earnings this week, obviously, because it's July 4th. I don't know. Actually, you know what? One second. Let me see something. So Apple, for instance, right? It's reporting earnings July 24th. Tesla's reporting earnings July 17th. Okay, let's take Tesla as an example. Okay, this is the only way that I play earnings here. So if you go to Tesla, and you look at this, right? The last 12 earnings, it says the options market overestimated Tesla's earnings move 38% of the time. That means that 62% of the time, Tesla beats the expected move, right? So it beat the expected move last time, the time before, the time before, the time before, the time before, the time before. As a matter of fact, the last 6 times, Tesla beat the expected move. And 7 of the last 8 times, Tesla beat the expected move. Okay? 8 out of the last 10 times, Tesla beat the expected move. There you go. Okay? So if there is an options play that allows me to take advantage of this data, right? Then I might participate in it. But trying to just buy calls or just buy puts and hope for the best, that's a sucker's game, bro. You might as well just go to Vegas and play the slot machines. Like, that's a sucker's game. You want to base your options trades on earnings based off of data. So the only earnings that I will trade is if a stock disproportionately beats the expected move or disproportionately misses the expected move. If a stock disproportionately misses the expected move, then I will usually open an iron condor if that iron condor pays me asymmetrically, right? A short iron condor. If a stock continuously beats the expected move and I can get a good deal on a long strangle, right? Buying a call and a put at different strike prices, like a 25 delta strangle, then I'll do that. But you'll rarely, and I mean, I don't even remember the last time. Those of you that are in the Discord, you can confirm this. I don't even remember the last time that I bought a straight call or a straight put for earnings. And even just calls and puts in general, very, 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 very specific situations. Like, we bought calls on Tesla. When it broke out of this and retested, we bought calls on Tesla here, right? But I don't trade calls and puts every day. I'm very deliberate, and my calls and puts are actually very, 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 very sparse. So the last time that I bought Tesla calls were June 21st. I bought the 200 calls, and then the time before that, I bought the same 200 calls on June 14th, and that's it. And you can see here, it's when Tesla retested, broke out of the pennant, and on a severe red day, retested that pennant. Right? Other than that, I don't trade calls and puts like that. ES, I think it takes that level. This is a power of 3, by the way, but I think it takes that level. I have an alert. I appreciate you guys looking out for me, but I have an alert here, so it will ping me if it takes it. All right. On the poll, 308 votes. 44% says I look Turkish. 56% said I don't. Okay, so I guess I can't argue with that. I was gonna say how is it that you're asking me if I'm Turkish, but I guess quite a few people think this, so I can't argue with the data. I'm gonna end this poll here. Very excited for the next poll. I'm minus 43K in my Robinhood all time, says Juan Acosta. Finally up 16K on Tesla, learning from Z, slowly helping come back to break even. I'm happy to be a little more risky, 31 to 32 years old. Try and recover. Shout out to you for being honest, man. Aisha says, that sounds nice. What? My mind being lost? Next big earnings is Netflix. Yeah, I mean, the same way, dude. The same way. Like, again, I only want to take data-driven trades. So if you look at Netflix, right? It says the option, blah, blah, blah. The options market overestimated Netflix earnings move 46% of the time. So about half the time, Netflix beats the expected move, and about half the time it misses the expected move. This is a kind of stock I will not trade. I will not trade this at all because it's a 50-50. I need something to be asymmetrical. Misses the expected move most of the time, beats the expected move most of the time. If something's right dead center, I'm not trading that. Simple as that. Thank you for Tesla shout out a few weeks ago, up 30%. Hell yeah. Are you doing that meetup in NY? Yes. Okay, I just got an alert on ES. Let's see what happens here. Yes, I'm doing a meetup. I'm doing that meetup in NY. The only thing that fucks me up here is it is now 11:30 and lunch is in half an hour and I don't trade lunch. So I'm glad that ES did this. This will set up a trade later. Unless it sets up the trade. No, shit. Yeah, I'm really thinking about shorting from here. I'm monitoring this candle to see if we close above there. If right now you would tell us what's going through your mind, we'd all learn. Oh my God, bro. Fucking YouTube crowd. I can't short this in good conscience if we close above this 1 minute gap here on NQ or ES, whichever one. Yeah, I can't short this in good conscience. This might want more liquidity up top. I love how this guy's like, talk, monkey. Like, I can't just sit here and think in peace so that I can find a good trade for you. As a matter of fact, fuck this guy. Who the hell is this entitled prick? RW. Is aggressive entry worth it? Not in my point of view. This is why we monitor the 1 minute closes, right? So when we closed above this gap, that's a very good question, by the way. But when we close above this gap, that was an indication to me that we're not ready to go short yet. Right? Now, we did take out these equal highs here on the 1 minute. And we created SMT, right? ES, NQ. NQ made a higher high. ES made a lower high. If this maintains here, there could be, and we close below this, we have to close below this. Otherwise, there's no short. But if we do, then there could be a short down to at least 20.098. Otherwise, we're going to have to wait until after lunch. See, there's that SMT where ES created a lower high. If it doesn't make another high past the 1132 high, then that SMT is maintained. No, this is not a setup I would trade on YM, dude. Look at this. This is the type of setup I avoid at all costs. All right, so ES wants to go. If it creates a higher high than this one at 1132, then there's not going to be a trade until lunch. Until after lunch, sorry. Do you live stream every day? Yes, I live stream every day. Not here. I live stream in the Discord every day. I go live here when there are events and stuff. But I live stream. If I live stream on YouTube every day, I would lose my mind, bro. Do you see what I have to deal with here? If I live streamed every day on YouTube, I might as well start doing shrooms and weed. Yeah, I'm gonna hold off on trades. We took that nice $700 trade on NQ. I'm gonna hold off on trades until after lunch. And obviously I will be sending those out in the Discord when I take them. Like this. So I will definitely be sending those trades out when I take a trade after lunch. This is definitely setting up for a really, really juicy trade post lunch. I do like the price action here. It's just too close to lunch for me to take an optimal trade here. But I think this is setting up for a big, big move post lunch for sure. Especially the fact that Powell was talking in the morning and we had red folder news at 10. I think we're gonna get a big move post lunch. So I will be sending that out. For those of you in the Discord, I will see you guys there. Make sure to look out for that trade because I think we'll hit a big one there. And yeah, if you want to join the Discord, link in the description below. Make sure that you join. Make sure you use the coupon code if there is one. And I'll see you guys. For those of you in the Discord, I'll see you guys in the Discord. Do you think we'll tank hard? Dude, I'll send the alert when it comes. I'll send the alert when it comes. For those of you in the Discord, I'll see you in the Discord. For those of you on YouTube, thank you for rocking with me, and I'll see you the next time on YouTube. Otherwise, we trade live every single day on the Discord. Shout out to you guys that took the nice NQ short. We made $700 per contract on that. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the Discord. Peace.